Hey Raiders fans, we've got a situation on our hands that's stirring up all kinds of conversations across the fan base and in the locker room, and it revolves around one of the most consistent, reliable, and professional players on this roster, Jacoby Myers. Now, let's be honest, when the news came out earlier this week that Jacoby requested a trade, it hit like a little gut punch for all of us who watch this team week in and week out. You don't need to be a hardcore insider to understand that Jacoby has had moments of frustration with the organization. But what makes this so interesting is that even with the trade request, Jacoby's commitment to this team has never wavered. He's still showing up at practice, still putting in the work, and still proving why he's such an important piece of this Raiders puzzle. Think about it. Coming off a career year with 87 catches, over 1,000 receiving yards, and showing up every single day for practice, Jacoby is exactly the kind of player any franchise wants in the locker room. And yet, there's the tension that comes from contract negotiations because let's face it, in today's NFL, nobody is above the shield, and everyone wants to be compensated fairly for their contributions. Jacoby knows his worth. The Raiders recognize his talent, but they're also trying to balance the bigger picture, how this team builds not just for the upcoming season, but for long-term success. It's a delicate dance between rewarding performance and keeping the financial and strategic health of the organization intact. Now, if you put yourself in the shoes of the Raiders front office, you have to evaluate the situation from multiple angles. On one hand, you have a player who is clearly motivated, loyal, and proven to be a top contributor on the field. On the other hand, you have the realities of the salary cap, the depth of your roster, and the need to make sure that every move made today sets you up to win tomorrow. That's why I believe there's a real opportunity here for a win-win scenario, something that benefits Jacoby Myers, the coaching staff, the organization, and ultimately the fans who want to see this team succeed. The first piece of this puzzle is understanding Jacoby's perspective. He's entering his late 20s, which for a wide receiver is a crucial time in terms of career trajectory and earning potential. He's put in the work, proven himself on the field, and now he's looking for a contract that reflects not only his past performance, but also his expected contributions moving forward. From his point of view, he's earned a deal that gives him financial security, respects his talent, and acknowledges the sacrifices he's made to be a consistent performer in an ever-changing environment, dealing with multiple coaching changes and different quarterback situations. That kind of resilience and professionalism is rare, and any team would be wise to reward it. From the Raiders' perspective, the situation is equally delicate. The front office has to evaluate whether a long-term extension makes sense within the context of the team's broader strategy. Are they in win-now mode? Are they willing to commit a significant portion of the cap to ensure Jacoby stays and thrives? Or do they see a more cautious approach as the safer route, rewarding performance while keeping flexibility for future roster moves? This is where smart management comes into play. Finding a balance that motivates the player, reinforces the culture of commitment and excellence, and also keeps the team competitive both on and off the field. Let's break it down further. Jacoby's asking for a deal that represents his value, which is completely reasonable given his production. The Raiders, however, are evaluating him not just in isolation, but in the context of their entire receiving core, salary structure, and long-term vision. They have to ask themselves, is Jacoby Myers worth committing top-tier money to for multiple years, or is there a way to structure a deal that rewards him now while keeping options open for the future? And this is where the creative, strategic solutions come into play. Ways to structure contracts with incentives, performance bonuses, and flexibility that ensure the player is motivated while the team remains in a strong competitive position. One possible solution that makes sense is a contract that combines a meaningful immediate increase with performance-based incentives. Imagine a scenario where Jacoby receives a raise this season, putting him among the higher-paid wide receivers in the league, while also providing him with a chance to earn even more if certain performance targets are met. That way, the Raiders reward him for what he's already accomplished and incentivize him to continue performing at a high level. Simultaneously, the team maintains control over long-term financial commitments, making sure they can continue to build a competitive roster without sacrificing flexibility. It's a smart approach that acknowledges the player's contributions without compromising the organization's overall strategic vision. And here's the key. The beauty of this kind of arrangement is that it aligns incentives perfectly. Jacoby wants to play at a high level, he wants to succeed, and he wants to be recognized for his efforts. The Raiders want to win games, develop talent, and maintain a sustainable salary structure. By structuring a deal with both guaranteed components and performance-based upside, both parties get what they want, and most importantly, the team positions itself to maximize success on the field. It's a true win-win situation, and in my view, it's exactly the type of creative thinking that makes the difference between an average organization and one that consistently competes at the top level. Let's also not forget the locker room implications. Jacoby Myers is not just a player. He's a respected voice in the team, a professional who sets an example every day in practice and off the field. Rewarding his performance appropriately sends a message to the rest of the roster. Excellence, commitment, and loyalty are valued in this organization. That's crucial for team culture. When players see that consistent effort is recognized, it reinforces the behaviors that coaches and management want to see. Conversely, if a player like Jacoby were overlooked or undervalued, it could create unrest, uncertainty, or even resentment among other stars in the locker room. By taking a thoughtful, fair approach, the Raiders ensure that morale stays high and that the culture of accountability and excellence is strengthened. Looking ahead, this also positions Jacoby to hit free agency at an optimal time in his career if he chooses. At 29, wide receivers are at a stage where their value in the open market can be substantial, especially after a strong season behind a capable quarterback and in a system that highlights their strengths. Structuring the current contract to be fair now, while allowing for the possibility of hitting free agency later, creates flexibility for both the player and the team. Jacoby has security and potential upside. The Raiders maintain financial control and the ability to make strategic roster decisions. It's elegant, it's strategic, and it's exactly the type of solution that savvy front offices pursue. Now, from a contract standpoint, Jacoby's request makes perfect sense. He wants security, he wants recognition, and he wants to be paid in line with his market value. But the Raiders are in a position where they have to balance his desires with organizational strategy. They can't just hand out top-tier money willy-nilly. They have to think about cap space, the future of their receiving core, and overall team sustainability. So here's how I see a real solution playing out. The Raiders offer a one-year contract that boosts Jacoby's salary immediately, while including performance incentives that reward him for helping the team win. This isn't just about stats, it's about outcomes: yards, receptions, touchdowns, team victories, playoff success. By linking his compensation to actual team performance, the Raiders can reward him without overcommitting long-term, and Jacoby gets the chance to prove he's worth every dollar. Picture this. Jacoby comes in this season knowing he has a chance to earn more than he ever has before, while the team gets a motivated, focused, and fully committed player in their starting lineup. That's a recipe for mutual benefit. It's not just theory, it's practical, and it mirrors strategies we've seen in other successful organizations. Teams have learned that structuring contracts with short-term guarantees plus incentives creates alignment between player goals and organizational goals. Jacoby wants to win, the Raiders want to win, and by tying money to success, everyone has skin in the game. It keeps the locker room focused, it keeps Jacoby motivated, and it keeps the franchise flexible for the future. And let's not overlook another critical element: Jacoby's age and career timing. At 28, approaching 29 mid-season, he's at a point where his market value is peaking. For wide receivers, the late 20s are often the time to cash in and secure long-term earnings. If the Raiders structure a deal that gives him both immediate reward and the opportunity to hit free agency in a year or two, Jacoby gets the best of both worlds. He's financially compensated now, and he also positions himself to negotiate another high-value contract after proving his continued production. That's the kind of strategic thinking that benefits both parties. Jacoby is rewarded for loyalty and performance. and the Raiders maintain leverage to evaluate long-term options without being locked into an unsustainable financial commitment. Now, let's take a look at the broader impact on the team. When you reward a player like Jacoby fairly, you reinforce a culture of excellence. Other players in the locker room see that effort, professionalism, and commitment are recognized. That's huge because it sets the standard for behavior, performance, and attitude. No one wants to feel undervalued or overlooked, especially when they're giving their all to the team. By handling Jacoby's situation correctly, the Raiders send a message. If you show up, put in the work, and perform at a high level, you will be rewarded. That kind of organizational culture translates to better cohesion, higher morale, and ultimately more wins on the field. Let's also consider the strategic advantage Jacoby provides. He's a player who can consistently create separation, catch critical passes in clutch situations, and serve as a security blanket for the quarterback in high-pressure moments. Whether it's third-down conversions, red zone targets, or clutch plays late in games, Jacoby's presence has a measurable impact on the Raiders' offensive efficiency. When you factor in his ability to elevate those around him, it's easy to see why paying him appropriately is not just a reward. It's an investment in winning football games. From a front office perspective, structuring a one-year deal with incentives allows the Raiders to maintain flexibility. They can evaluate his performance, chemistry with the quarterback, and overall fit within the system before committing to a longer-term contract. If Jacoby proves he can perform at a high level again, the team has the option to extend him or negotiate a new deal that makes sense for both sides. If for some reason it doesn't work out, the Raiders haven't overcommit, preserving cap space and roster flexibility for future moves. It's a pragmatic approach that combines respect for the player with smart organizational strategy. Looking ahead to the season, Jacoby's motivation is a key factor. A player who feels valued, fairly compensated, and challenged to perform at a high level is one who shows up every day with intensity. That kind of mindset has a ripple effect across the roster. Younger receivers, tight ends, and even the quarterback see the standard being set. They understand that the organization rewards excellence and effort. This is how you create a culture where winning becomes the expectation, not the exception. Jacoby's presence and his contract structure can influence not just his own performance, but the trajectory of the entire offense. And here's another point that often gets overlooked: performance incentives tied to team success. By structuring Jacoby's deal to include bonuses for reaching milestones like 10 wins, playoff appearances, or divisional championships, the Raiders ensure that his personal goals are aligned with the team's objectives. That's the type of smart contract design that turns financial investment into on-field production. It's not just about catching passes, it's about winning football games, and Jacoby has the chance to directly impact the outcome while being rewarded for it. Finally, let's touch on long-term strategic benefits. By giving Jacoby a one-year contract with the right balance of guaranteed money and performance incentives, the Raiders set themselves up to make decisions in 2026 with full information. They can evaluate his chemistry with the quarterback, his ability to consistently perform at a high level, and his overall impact on the roster. If he continues to excel, the Raiders can extend him or negotiate a new deal that reflects his value and aligns with their cap structure. If things don't go as planned, they have flexibility to pivot and pursue other options. Either way, the team is positioned to make an informed, strategic decision that balances immediate performance with long-term organizational health. In summary, this scenario creates a classic win-win. Jacoby gets fair compensation, recognition, and the chance to hit free agency at the optimal time, while the Raiders maintain flexibility, reinforce team culture, and invest in winning football. It's a thoughtful, strategic approach that rewards performance, motivates the player, and positions the team for both short-term success and long-term stability. This is how smart organizations manage star talent, and it's exactly what the Raiders need to do to keep their offensive momentum going while building a sustainable path for the future. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have been circulating for weeks, growing louder each day, and now the speculation has turned into reality. TYREEK Hill, one of the NFL's most electrifying wide receivers, is reportedly set to join the Las Vegas Raiders. The atmosphere around Allegiant Stadium is charged with excitement as fans anticipate the arrival of a player whose speed and playmaking ability have redefined what it means to dominate in the passing game. Hill's reputation for explosive plays and game-changing moments precedes him, and the chatter among analysts, fans, and insiders suggests that the Raiders could be on the verge of a transformation the likes of which hasn't been seen in recent seasons. Conversations in sports bars, social media threads, and fan forums are filled with speculation about how Hill will fit into the Raiders' offensive scheme, who will benefit most from his presence, and whether this signing signals a serious push toward contention in a league where every roster move is scrutinized. The excitement is palpable, with rumors of Hill's contract terms, potential target shares, and chemistry with the team's quarterback fueling the fire. Even casual observers can't ignore the buzz, as the possibility of witnessing a player of Hill's caliber in black and silver jerseys injects a renewed sense of optimism into a franchise historically known for its highs and lows. Sources hint that Hill's integration into the Raiders could reshape the team's identity on offense, potentially giving them a weapon capable of stretching defenses and creating opportunities for other playmakers. Conversations among insiders suggest that Hill's arrival may push the team's coaching staff to adapt strategies that maximize his unparalleled speed and agility, ensuring that defenses are constantly reacting instead of dictating the pace. The rumor mill is rife with debates about how Hill's presence might influence the quarterback's decision-making process, whether it could lead to a shift in the running game, and how the offensive line might be tasked with providing additional protection to allow Hill to make explosive plays downfield. Fans speculate endlessly about which matchups will showcase Hill's talents best, imagining scenarios where he turns seemingly ordinary plays into highlight reel touchdowns, and how opposing coordinators will need to adjust coverage schemes. Analysts weigh in with conjectures about statistical projections, the impact on fantasy football leagues, and whether Hill's arrival signals the beginning of a new era for the Raiders. The undercurrent of excitement is magnified by the idea that a player of Hill's notoriety could elevate the entire team's profile, making every game must-watch television and turning Allegiant Stadium into a fortress of anticipation and energy. The Las Vegas media landscape is abuzz with discussions about TYREEK Hill's potential debut, with reporters speculating on timelines, training camp impressions, and locker room dynamics. According to whispers from sources close to the team, the Raiders' locker room is a mix of anticipation and curiosity, with veteran players eager to see how Hill's talents will complement their own and younger players hoping to learn from a star whose career has been defined by speed, vision, and adaptability. The chatter suggests that Hill's professionalism and competitive drive could serve as a catalyst for elevating team culture, fostering an environment where preparation, effort, and innovation are amplified. Sports talk shows, online forums, and fan communities are buzzing with hypothetical discussions about explosive opening drives, game-winning catches, and the potential for Hill to redefine what it means to play wide receiver in the modern NFL. Every rumor, every tidbit of insider information, and every imagined highlight reel adds to the mounting anticipation. People speculate about Hill's chemistry with the coaching staff, his ability to adapt to new schemes, and the effect on team morale. The narrative is building toward a crescendo, with every report, official or unofficial, reinforcing the image of a Raiders team poised for change, a team whose fans can envision a thrilling new chapter written by one of football's most electrifying talents. Rumors also swirl around the potential ripple effects of Hill's move on the Raiders' roster construction and future draft strategy. Insiders suggest that acquiring a player of his caliber could influence not only offensive play calling, but also personnel decisions, prompting trades, acquisitions, or shifts in how emerging talent is utilized. The speculation extends to possible changes in defensive priorities, anticipating that opposing teams may focus extra resources on containing Hill, thereby opening up opportunities for other Raiders playmakers to exploit. Discussions abound about the financial implications, salary cap maneuvering, and long-term vision for sustaining a competitive team around a generational talent. The excitement isn't confined to analysts. Fans are buzzing in stadium parking lots, online forums, and local bars, sharing predictions, debating potential touchdowns, and imagining what it will be like to see Hill in the black and silver uniform, breaking away from defenders and transforming ordinary plays into highlight moments. The rumor, once a murmur, has become a near certainty in conversation, elevating anticipation for not just the season opener, but every game, every drive, and every critical moment where Hill could redefine the narrative of the Raiders' campaign. Speculation has reached fever pitch, and as whispers turn into near-constant dialogue across media outlets, social networks, and fan communities, Tyreek Hill's rumored arrival in Las Vegas has become a focal point for conversations about the NFL's future. Every discussion, whether on podcasts, televised segments, or social media platforms, revolves around Hill's unmatched speed, game-breaking abilities, and the potential for him to turn the Raiders into a team that commands attention weekly. Fans exchange ideas about dream matchups, touchdown celebrations, and the possibility of Hill rewriting the record books while donning the silver and black. The narrative is further fueled by comparisons to past Raiders stars, speculation about team chemistry, and conjecture about how opposing defenses will adjust to his presence. Rumors hint that Hill's impact could go beyond statistics, shaping team culture, fan engagement, and national perception. The excitement permeates every corner of Las Vegas, from sports bars to stadium corridors, as residents and visitors alike speculate on how quickly Hill will influence the trajectory of the franchise. Whether the whispers are fully accurate or partly embellished, the sheer volume and intensity of conversation underscore the magnitude of the story, suggesting that the NFL may witness a dramatic new chapter in the Raiders' history, one that revolves around a player whose reputation for explosive athleticism has fans and pundits alike on the edge of their seats. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.